Evie. Sorry, I haven't really been active on my page. I've been trying to, I've been trying to do I've been trying to find myself, and I've been trying to go, like, do a lot of, mental changes and stuff. I just felt like I needed a break from social media entirely. So I just been, just cruising under the radar. Welcome back if you aren't new, but if you are new, welcome to my channel. This channel is basically my video diary of my life with DID and how I basically live day by day with it. Sorry, my hair is like, it's humid, so my hair is like, so I'm currently on vacation with my family, which is super cool. So in this video, because I noticed that I make my intros really long. I'm sorry about that. I just get really excited. So in this video, I wanted to talk about, I wanted to make it kind of like a sequel to this video, which is, I went over a few topics and I kind of had like a story time on like the dark side of DID. I wanted to do something again like that because DID isn't, a barrel of sunshines and rainbows. It's not a one size fits all kind of disorder. We all go through different things with our lives. Like, this is just my experience. I don't want to say all DID is like this because that's not true. So let's get started, shall we? So in today's video, I wanted to kind of, go over a few things. I don't know if it'll be a story time or just me rambling because I do get anxiety talking about stuff like this. So, but I didn't want my channel to be based off of, always having fun or always, being like, yeah, I got my shit together, because I don't, like everyone else. I have my off days. I have my, times where I'm really up or I'm really down. So here we go. Here goes nothing. So I wanted to talk about DID and self-damaging behaviors. So, sorry, I know what I'm going to be talking about, so I get like really like worked up talking about it. So, okay, let's just start. So this video will mention a lot of things that could be triggering to people, to anybody. So if you don't want to, talk about this or this, this is not for you. Please click off. If you still want to watch my channel, watch other videos. I have nicer videos. So in high school, I got bullied a lot. From elementary up. And keep in mind, I am the co-host, so I'm out 95% of the time. But I will be talking for Evelise too, because she's not really out as much. So when I say it could be either her or my story. But she's not out much to really talk about it for herself, so I will be talking about it for her. Or I will say we. So from elementary to high school, me and her, we were bullied a lot. I'll talk about mostly high school because that's when I was out, taking control, doing whatever I do. So high school, 9th grade, we weren't really socially, like, we didn't look socially acceptable. If you know what really harsh beauty standards are and stuff like that, we did not fit the bill. In high school, we didn't really know how to do our makeup. We were plus sized. We had a really big chest, and it was like we were, I talked about this before, but in this video, I talked about how I thought I was transgender. So having a big chest, but then trying to bind it down and look more like a boy, like we cut our hair and stuff like that. It wasn't, I thought I looked nice, but apparently I didn't, like, to other people. So, we were ugly, basically. So high school, ninth grade, kind of looking like this. I'm more accepting of it now because I know who I am, and I grown to really, like, appreciate and be very body positive. So but you got to know where you came from, you got to accept where you came from, and you got to recognize that glow and that grow, you know what I mean? So I just get anxiety and triggered over the fact of what I had to deal with, not because of what I looked like, but what I had to deal with. So in ninth grade, I can't really remember most of it, but I will talk about my overall high school career really shortly, like just trying to smush it all together. So in ninth grade, we'll talk about this topic, and I'll probably add a story time to it. In ninth grade into like 10th grade, we were getting bullied for being plus sized and cutting our hair really short, and also having braces. So what comes with that fat shaming and basically being called a dyke. I'm not a dyke. And I don't even know what the problem is with dykes. Like, they're really good looking people. Like, why do you do that? Why do you judge? But it's like, we started, well, me co-fronting with Emily, and this was more of Emily's thing. So I'm shifting from talking about me and Evelise to me and Emily for right now. I will let you know when I shift the story back and forth and who I'm talking about, when it comes up to it. But when I would co-front with Emily, or when Emily would be out, she would be very aggressive. She knew that I wasn't really verbally aggressive, so she had to find a way to get anger out. So when she would get really frustrated, she would resort into this, which lasted a really long time. I still have actual physical scars and stuff like that, but we would go through a day of being called fat, ugly, or a dyke or whatever, and we would go home and resort to that, and we would use a headband or a band-aid or whatever to cover it up around, we would just wrap it around our wrists. At home wasn't really the best either, because we used to get into a lot of fights, with a lot of physical and a lot of really, really, really bad fights with our mom. We just didn't see eye to eye. I guess that's, it was a very abusive and toxic situation for the both of us. Like, me and my mom, we would trigger each other. It got to the point where I would hang out, I got so tired and so depressed with my life and myself. I didn't take my high school career very seriously, so I would cut class a lot, especially with my ex-boyfriend. There's literally this one time to where we would I remember we cut class with our friend, and it was the same day to where we had to go to therapy. And my mom, I can't remember if she took us to therapy or if she just met us there, but I went to therapy, and my mom basically found out that we were cutting class, and found out what we were doing in our spare time. And apparently I switched with Emily, I think. I can't remember, in front of her, and we got hospitalized later that day. We were hospitalized in Belmont for 2 weeks. I don't know if I should say Belmont, but we were hospitalized for 2 weeks. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't remember the whole time I was there. I'm pretty sure I switched with Emily or Elijah the entire time I was there. We went back to school and we tried to crunch in our grades, and we tried to, like, build back up our attendance and stuff like that. But depression, we were on and off medication and stuff like that. And this is going into, like, 11th grade, to where, we started to, hang out with the wrong people and do a lot of stuff that we weren't supposed to do. So that's like cutting class, that's, back to, self-harming. And with depression came with a lot of other problems, to where, we would break down and we would just feel sad. I'm also an insomniac, so I don't really sleep much, so I get really overwhelmed and stressed out. And around this time, we started losing friends, because my two ex-best friends, I lost the friendships because I wasn't a good friend. They didn't like my ex-boyfriend at the time, and they tried to help me, but I kind of, like, just let the friendship just drift off, because at that time I was just falling apart, and I didn't want to feel like a burden. So I know she watches my videos, so if you're watching this, I won't say your name, but I really am sorry for how I let the relationship slide, because this girl, we would hang out for 4th of July, or I would sleep over her house. Like, I really loved her mom, and her mom really liked me and stuff like that. Like, but I just let the relationship fall into, a lot of arguing and stuff like that, because I wasn't really being verbal with what was going on with me, and she was getting frustrated, which is understandable. She felt like I kind of abandoned her or replaced her, and no one deserves to be treated like that. So I'm really sorry. Like, I know it was years ago and stuff like that, but it is something that, I really do have remorse for, because this girl was very, very nice to me. So I really do apologize for that. So yeah, they didn't like my ex-boyfriend very much, and my ex-boyfriend wasn't very nice to me either. But back then I was so, like, in my head, to where I just wanted to be with somebody. Even if that person wasn't nice to me, like, I was feeling like I wasn't being accepted at home. I felt like I was losing people at school, which I was, but it was my fault. And he was the only one that was there for me, but he would cause me problems. Like, he would literally, like, break my heart and then kiss it better. Like, it was kind of like that's a really cringy line, but you get the gist. Like, he would cause me problems and be very toxic to our relationship, and then manipulate it to make it better. And the relationship was on and off for a couple years, because we got too emotionally invested. I got too emotionally invested. Like, it got to the point to where our lives were just too invested in each other. Like, we were just too overlapped onto each other's lives, to where it was very hard to just break out of the relationship. Especially, like, with school, like, we had the same group of friends, we had a lot of the same teachers. Like, it was just very hard, especially when I felt like there was times to where I just kept getting pushed back into the relationship, because it was what other people wanted, and I didn't really care. And I I am a pleaser, I'm a satisfier, so it takes a lot for me, you know, especially back then, to really break away from the relationship, even if it's toxic. Like back then, I was so like emotionally codependent that I just struggled to, you know, I struggled a lot to, you know, find who I was. So a lot of the times my identity in my life was just revolving around this boy. So I'm sorry. I was just getting like, you know, so what was I saying? Yeah, my life started to like, you know, really revolve around this boy. Like it was very emotionally abusive, because this boy would cheat on me, or he would, you know, basically lie to me, or he would always like, you know, put me down. Like he didn't make me feel very good about myself. It got to the point to where I started feeling like very emotionally drained when I was with him. I was crying a lot. Like I was just really, really unhappy. There was so much shit that went on. Hold on. Let me just. That's better. So, a lot of this, this happened in 11th grade. Like, I know I was just talking about 9th and like 10th, but you know, this was all like building up from like bullying and then entering a toxic relationship. And then like, you know, 11th grade being like going from being hospitalized and like, but now it's starting to, you know, insomnia and me mentally like losing grip, to where I would start, you know, idolizing really dark thoughts. Not idolizing, but like really like obsessing with dark thoughts. And I grew very, very like, you know, very self-aware, or like very like my self-esteem started to like really plummet at this point. So whenever I was getting fat shamed by some not lard ass, but like some really ugly kid, and by ugly, not by like personality wise, this person was not a very nice person. Like they had a very like, you know, fat ego, and very like, you know, they were very like degrading people, very toxic people. I don't like being around that. So I started, you know, to where I started, you know, starving myself, or I would binge a lot, and then I would feel guilty, so I'd force myself to throw it up, and then I would go back to starving myself, and it would repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, like, and I struggled. I still struggle with it to this day. Like, not gonna lie, I relapsed like just before this vacation. So I went to therapy a lot, and I tried to talk to my therapist about putting me on like medication with appetite suppressants, because it was all in my head. But you know, the psychiatrist and therapist wouldn't do that, so for other reasons. So I just had to learn how to deal with it on my own, which I'm still struggling with it till this day. And if you see my last video, I don't really have a therapist anymore, because, you know, she moved on to another job elsewhere and never had anyone else pick up my case. So that was like going on 3 months ago, I think. 2 months ago. So now you're just taking it day by day. So we're talking about, you know, self-harm, toxic relationships, and now eating disorders. Like all of this, you know, stemming from, you know, me trying to get out of things. But here's where it comes in, because you're probably like, oh, that happens with everybody. But the fact of my DID, this made this so much worse, because Emily would fixate on being on self-harm. She would fixate on it, and she would keep doing it. So even when I was clean, if you set her off, we would relapse. Or with the eating disorders, like that was me. Like I would relapse. Like I would black out with Elijah, and he would, you know, he would continue to cut my hair and keep it short, or like, you know, starve us like go back into, you know, fixating off of my eating disorder and starve us to lose the weight because he didn't like the big chest. Like a lot of the times, you know, with the breast reduction, that we did get a breast reduction. It's been almost 3 years since we got it, but we got a breast reduction because of, you know, I have a lot of physical issues. I'm actually physically disabled. Not too bad, but my spine, I have something called spondylosis, to where the cartilage in my spine was breaking down very quickly at my age. And so I got the breast reduction, but he kind of, you know, he kind of fed off of it more because he didn't want the breast anymore. Like, it was just so much overwhelming. It was just so much stuff. It got to a part to where in high school we would, like, you know, get called fake or like two-face or whatever because we couldn't settle with pronouns because, like I said, dissociative identity disorder. So when an alter comes out like Elijah, he wants to go by he, whereas my pronouns, I go by any. Like, so it got very hard with DID trying to like build up an identity or, like, you know, a self-image for myself when my alters also wanted to do that. My alters would also, you know, impersonate me during school, because that's what we did for my system. But, you know, Emily would hang around, like, you know, my ex-boyfriend, and he would manipulate a lot of my alters. Like, my ex-boyfriend would actually, you know, be romantically involved with a lot of my alters, which I do find that cheating. A lot of the time, like, you know, it's been a while since I graduated. I graduated in 2018, but I still struggle with, you know, a lot of things. Like, I still struggle with my eating habits. I still struggle with my body dysmorphia, even though I'm very body positive. I still get anxiety, especially when I try to enter new relationships. I feel like there's times to where I procrastinate a lot of like meeting up with them, or, you know, even like, you know, allowing, like, sometimes I even get scared when they hug me or even try to touch me because I don't want them feeling my body. Like, it's like a very like, don't look at me vibe. Like, I don't want you looking at me, but then I kind of do because I just get really scared that I'm not going, like, it's not good enough. You know what I mean? Like, I get very, very scared. Which is my problem. It is my problem. Like, you know, new relationships shouldn't have to deal with, you know, my trauma from my past relationships or, you know, deal with that shit. So I do try very, very hard. Like, most recently, like, I met this boy that I really, really like. I don't know if he watches my videos, but if you do, I think you'll know that I'm talking about you. I talk about him very, very highly because I clicked with him very, very fast. And the reason why I talk so highly about you, if you watch this, is because of the fact that you don't understand. Well, you probably do, but you're the first person besides my best friend Nathan, and this is the first time I'm mentioning Nathan on my channel. Like, not really, I don't know, I don't really remember, but it's okay. Other than my best friend that actually made me feel that I was loved, you know, outside of my family, outside of my female relationships. You are the first boy to ever walk into my life and, you know, treat me very nicely and like, you know, and like, you know, have a very, like, you know, healthy friendship and like relationship with me. Like, you, like, it's funny because this boy, like, I knew in high school and we didn't really like blossom into a friendship because of other things. Won't get into it because that's his business. But when I reconnected with him, it was like, it was really nice. And he doesn't know it, but like, you know, you really kind of like, you know, helped my self-esteem and you really, like, you know, helped my mindset in the very short time that we spent together. And it was very sweet, and you are a very beautiful person. So I'm very grateful that you're in my life, and I love you dearly. So if you watch this, you know, you'll hit me up. Of course you will. But if you don't, sooner or later, you might stumble across my channel. Hopefully not, because I, well, maybe, but like, I don't know, like, I kind of get scared when people in like my like everyday life see my channel, because a lot of times I keep my DID a secret because of how the media put out DID. Like, split, no, that's not how it is for me, and I don't want to be judged. And you know, it kind of stemmed from this one time. I had a friend and her sister. I told her sister that I had dissociative identity disorder, and she thought I was joking. And she almost cut me off because she was like, that's not funny. And I was like, I'm not joking. And my mom had to tell her. And that's something I deal with every day. So, I deal with a lot of things. I get tired out whenever I, you know, switch, or whenever I have to deal with something that my alters did, because it's system responsibility. Even if, like, you know, Kira, my little, does something, I get the blame for it. So it's an everyday thing. It's not something, like, you know, I don't understand. Like I say, I will never put anyone out on the spot and call anyone a deliberate faker or a liar, but I do know what happens in the media, and I do know how people like to do things. But, like, you know, I don't understand why you would want this. Why do you want it? That's a question. Like, if you watch my channel, if you're one of those people, which, like, you know, like I said, I would never single anyone out, but this is just a general question. Why do you want this? Why? Why do you want the blackouts? Why do you want the loss in relationships? Why do you want to be vulnerable to toxic relationships? Why do you want the manipulation, the energy draining, the constant, you know, the responsibility taking, the overwhelming everything that comes with it? Like, why do you want it? Why? Like, and don't get me wrong, I would never, like, I love my system. Like, I've found a way to build relationships up with all of them, but it gets really hard. It gets really hard because, you know, DID, you know, not that many people are educated, and not that many people are accepting, because they get scared, which is fine, because, you know, people fear what they don't understand, and I would never, you know, try to force, like, my feelings or, like, my whatever onto someone else. I would never do that. So, but I think, like, you know, I changed a lot since high school. Physically, I changed a lot mentally. Like, I used to be a very, like, because of Emily, or because of, like, you know, or because of Zero, I used to be not a very nice person. Like, I wasn't very nice to my best friend Nathan when we were in a relationship, and it was my fault, like, you know, that the relationship ended. And I'm just so grateful that he's in my life today, because he's literally, like, my favorite person in the whole wide world. So I'm so grateful that he puts up with me, because you know, he didn't deserve how I treated him. So I spend every day now trying to make it up to him, and, you know, be a better person for him, for myself, for whoever I come in contact with. Like, I just want to know, you know, be fully aware of my DID. I want to, you know, meet other people with it. I want to learn better ways to cope. I want to inform other people, and I want to be a better person. I just want to grow into myself and be okay. So it still is a battle every day, but you know, with the help of my therapist, even though she left, I feel like I did get into a better place. Making this channel was a really good outlet. I haven't really posted anything on my TikTok because my TikTok, you know, for some reason, whenever I post something about DID on there, my TikTok doesn't, you know, put it out there. So I just started doing like trends and stuff like that, which is something that I kind of want to do with this channel. I really want to start, you know, doing challenges or other things. Like, I don't want my channel to always be doom and gloom, or, you know, always like, this is what I go through. You know what I mean? Like, I want to actually have you guys see how I am as a person, with my friends, or with just by myself. Like, I want you guys to, like, you know, just see me, not just see my DID or see the problems that I go through, but I just want you guys to see me. So once I introduce all my alters after that series, my alters will have like no limitations, and you'll see them hosting a video sometimes, or you'll see, you know, them, you know, coming out more. So I just want to introduce you guys first. So I will be putting up the next introduction video soon. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was all over the place, and I know that I started to get, you know, a little too overwhelmed. I tried not to, but thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel. The fact that, you know, we got to over 140 subscribers is insane to me. Like, I know that's not a lot, but it really does mean a lot to me, because I just wanted to, you know, put out my videos and just, you know, be informative. I didn't want, you know, the fame or the following. I just wanted, you know, to just talk like normal, like be a normal person. So thank you so much for supporting this channel and spreading the idea awareness. And thank you so much to this person. I don't know which channel of yours that you subscribe to, but I will put your picture here. He inboxed me and asked me a couple questions about my DID, which, you know, it isn't intrusive, in my opinion. It means a lot to me because it shows that people are interested and they actually want to know me as a person. So thank you so much for, you know, putting your time and giving me your time, and, you know, just throwing yourself out there. That's super cool. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys around. And